Today is still November 8th, 2025. You know, I still had people say something stupid about that. It's already back July 24th, 25. The tape of Weird With Yourself, they already admitted it was a shower scene years ago. And they did a body ratio, it wasn't even me. With some other lady showering, and they photoshopped my head on her body. They made it years ago. They put clips together, put her in a porn. It's not her. It's on March 1st to 3rd of 21. And later on, what you're describing as showering, she figured out what they did. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it. Because it's photoshopped. You know, when I was asking Danny and Jen on Christmas Eve of 22, they didn't know anything. They knew I had bruises, throwing up, and almost passing out, but they didn't know somebody was harming me. They didn't know about button cameras. They didn't know about a tape of Weird With Yourself. They didn't know anything. Like Jen said, I thought you were working too hard and bruising too easy. I didn't put it together. Somebody was harming you. But July 24th, 25, they did body ratio. It wasn't even me. They put my head on somebody else's body. April 20, what is it, 23rd? Wait a minute. April 16th, 23. Okay, April 16th of 2023. After Jen's mom's memorial service, Danny and Jen walk across the parking lot to Gabe and Shay, my grown grandson and his girlfriend. Said I finally went to Dad. I asked him what on earth is going on. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. It was Pete and his men in our home before. Pete has her frame. Pete has her tape, the filthy, dirty statement. I've never met him. It's just some guy Dave hired on his own. Okay? Just some guy. That's it. Okay? The investigators have referred to him as a serial rapist and a drug dealer. And a drug cartel. Him and that well. Everybody involved was drug cartel before. Officer marked that it was a drug cartel in my home before. North Canton Jackson Police, we all know it was a drug cartel. Okay? It's a drug scheme. Nobody else drugs anybody. It's illegal. It's pharmaceutical torture. These people act like they don't even know the law. When the case first started, they tried to say it was a retired Judge Pete, friends with Ludick, letting him get away with crimes, and the guy was with the people from Florida, saying they worked for Judge Peters, and they were from Florida. And he was with Michelle, and he was part of the whole big scam for him and Ludick. They had the fake Portage County sheriffs, the fake FBI agent that tortured me. No. And they were with the people that were from Florida. They were bragging they were the ones doing it to me before. Okay. This guy named Will is supposed to be Dave's ex-girlfriend's dad. Like they set up in Summit Mall. That's the one, her ex-husband and his girlfriend. Her ex-husband's girlfriend's dad and his friends ran a drug scam on. Ex-husband's girlfriend's dad and his friends ran a drug scam on. It's a big drug scam. Okay. But yeah, they referred to that guy Pete as a serial rapist and a drug dealer and drug cartel. And Will. Where these people think it's funny going around drugging people up, telling them to say horrible stuff, photoshopping, showering. No attorney would ever admit to being in somebody's home. A real attorney. It is a felony invasion of privacy, cyber stalking, illegal monitoring, and it's voyeurism. It lists them as sex offender, and then it's immediate loss of their license and then criminally charged. No doctor could ever be with them. That's where these people are so dumb. It's like every law that can't be broke, they try breaking it. But it's just stupid. No doctor could be with them. No doctor tapes you unaware. These are HIPAA violations. Strict 10-year federal sentences. They can't have somebody else pull your medical records. You have to sign for it, have to show ID. Otherwise, it's stealing medical records, a HIPAA violation, another 10-year sentence. They can't even steal them out of your home. It's a HIPAA violation. Get the idea? That's how dumb this is. And they've been playing on people's stupidity. That just proves the dark cartel could scam you. They could steal everything you got. Like they said, it's a big extortion ring doing it. That's where outside my work within the last 2 weeks, they said it was Agent John saying, I found that idiot that did this, found out that idiot that did this to her. He's trying to get my case against the drug dealers thrown out. I told him that I wouldn't arrest him for what he did to her if he turned over all his drug connections. And I'd turn her back over to him. And I tell people I didn't care what happened to her. That's attempted murder, and he don't have the authority to do that. He lied to that guy. He don't have the authority. It's right on Google. No police can turn any victim over to a drug dealer to get the drug dealer. It's illegal. It's aiding and abetting crime and accessory. He lied he could do that. So you really don't have agreement with MP. Well, he lied. But you know what I actually have? PD and Will? A real FBI case. With statements, a court order, and signed by a real judge. That agent doesn't have enough authority to ask people to stay quiet. He is only a higher police officer. I've talked to a criminal attorney, prosecutor's office, police, and Grant. My one friend talked to a FBI agent out of state. He doesn't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. First Amendment. It takes a judge in a jury trial only. No judge could sign it without being in a jury trial. No, putting a gag order on somebody. Freedom of speech is a constitutional right. The Fourth Amendment, the right of privacy. Only police and agencies can be in a home under a threat of life with statements with a court order. Even the FBI would go to jail. Okay. Fifth Amendment, you have a right to remain quiet. Sixth, a right to an attorney. Seventh, you have a right that only an impartial jury trial can award a set amount per documented injury, not a judge. 14th Amendment, you cannot withhold protection from any U.S. citizen, and you cannot seize money or assets, but due process of the law, you have to be found guilty and sued for it. Keeps everybody honest. And then you can't silence a victim, Marsy's Law. And then when you think where all those people said he didn't have the authority, he's just a higher police officer, well, you break it down. Local police work the local area. Sheriffs work the county. State patrol works the state highways. Then we have federal police officers that can work anywhere in the U.S. It's where you can work. We got the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigators. We have Secret Service and U.S. Marshals. They're all police officers. They're not submittable to each one. A local police officer can arrest an FBI agent. They're just cops. They're all cops. It just matters where they can work. Now, can a police officer tell you they won't help you? They'll tell on you for calling for help? No, they can't tell on you. Then admit on a recorded line he had everybody in his FBI office. They already knew that they called. He's played these people for their stupidity. He does not have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. He lied. Like they said, he was just bullying me. Can't be in a court order. Can't bully you in false statements. The only thing legal he did on that whole phone call was list you informant with money and immunity for working the case. Opened up a real threat and attempt to life case for an FBI informant with statements with knowledge of threat of life and a judge's order. Get the idea? You know, that's where Officer Mark told a lady in August of 23 on a Tuesday between noon and 1 that it's documented and verified as framed before, and it was a drug cartel in my home before they seen him. North Canton, Jackson Police, April 20. What day was it? April 28th, 24. In Walmart on the Strip. That we all know nobody drugs anybody but the drug cartel. Now, if you think nobody does, it's pharmaceutical torture you go to jail for 20 years. See, these people are dumb. They're just saying they can break all these laws, and they can't. But the people that were behind it, like they said, there were so many foreign terrorists involved in her case. It wasn't even funny. We had Michael Peterson dealing with Trekasami smuggling oil into the U.S. We got enough information of, letter of allegation, which is a bill of sale, large money transfers, when he was leaving, what airport, where he stayed down there, that he had dealings with Trekasami before, where the port was that was coming in, and that what state in the U.S. was buying the smuggled oil. Okay. A lady investigator said they called down to Venezuela. They said it wasn't legit. And they looked into it. Trekasami got arrested. And 50 other people for selling oil out from under his government. And stealing from them. Judge Peters from Florida and 100 men went to jail. The U.S. Marshals used the case, got thousands, saved hundreds of people. They've all been after that Texas group, that Iraqi that's involved. There was supposed to be a Russian. If people would actually start thinking about, in Summit County, a couple years ago, a bunch of police got together, raided hotels, and rescued the people the human traffickers were kidnapping. A lot of the ones that were up here in Summit County, I'd come up here and they'd harass me and make fun of me. Well, they're not here anymore. And why they're not here? They're in jail. Like they said, there were so many foreign terrorists involved in this. Which, Officer Mark and Officer John, we need to... Okay. I need to say something. I don't want to be over dramatic, but it is a need to know. And it is something I do need you to look into. Now, where they have September 30th, 25, Michelle announces outside how she's the one that told my new husband, Carl's family, that they could bash in his head, kidnap him, take him out to Youngstown, have him found incompetent, have attorney sign everything over to him. Attorney would be automatically disbarred, criminally charged for extortion. Any child trying to have that done to their child having that done to their father, or any parent, it's 20 years extortion. You can't do that. It's not your place. And to top it off, the VA evaluated Carl, and he's perfectly normal. I told her, I said, no, he's not. Do it again. She started laughing because we had told him what they were doing to him. She said, he's normal. I know he is. It's just we're making it up. Now, where Michelle announced she wanted that land on September 30th, 25, October 14th, 25, Walmart 62. They'd still have it by Wood Forest. A lady announcing how she was dealing with the lady who's supposed to buy the mineral rights. I figured she was a scam. She backed out of everything. Let's see. And that Will wants that land. Well, not this morning, but yesterday morning outside where I live, there was a guy saying how Will wants all those trees because Carl's got 35 acres of trees and he wants to sell them. Well, he touched one tree, Will. I find out who you are. You touched one tree. Rick don't own that land. His name is not on that title or the deed. Never was. He's not entitled to sell anything off that property. He's not entitled to nothing. You talk about theft and vandalism? Better not touch one of those trees. Well, Desi went down there today. Okay? And, Danny had set up a camera to find out who's coming and going. Well, they're going through the Smiths, the other side, sneaking onto the property. And they've been driving around where the main oil pipeline is in the back. And where that road is. She said there's all kinds of tire trucks going up and down it. And they've been driving around. So he's either trying to sell the woods where they said, well, once it touch it, and I'll tell you what, you're going to jail for grand theft and vandalism. It's not risks to sell. But I'll tell you what, with them being, there's terrorists involved, you might want to make sure they're not dealing with that pipeline. It's a major oil line going through Carl's land from several different wells being flowed through it. And that would be a very big explosion. Those idiots, now it's buried in the ground, but with there being terrorists involved, and there was a very, very expensive truck. Put the picture up on Facebook. We don't know who it belongs to. And Rick was with him. He had him out there today. Danny's supposed to go set up more cameras, trying to catch them going, see what they're doing back there. But Officer Mark and John, you need to find out. Because this is not being outrageous. When you think about what these people have done and what they're doing, and they were selling human beings for money. Michelle even confessed her family was, this whole thing is a drug debt from her family to drug dealers. There was even human trafficking people. They're selling women and children for sex slaves and to be murdered. These are evil, vile people. And it's a drug cartel. Do you understand? And then there was terrorists involved. And them driving in expensive trucks around a buried major pipeline where several wells flow through under the ground. To me, that it's worth you looking into it, what they're doing back there. Okay? My stomach's upset today. I haven't slept much, and I have to go back to work. And I'm very tired. Officer Mark, Officer John, we all know Agent John didn't have the authority to ask me to stay quiet. He was only bullying me, and then he even admits on the recorded line he had everybody in his office they already knew, and that becomes stupid. And no judge could sign that court order because he's not a judge and it's not a jury trial. And that's the only thing you can put a gag order on. Even a federal agent said it. It's the First Amendment, freedom of speech. Only a judge can take your freedom of speech away. Not a federal cop. See, that's where the First Amendment. Now, and you don't have the right to withhold my money. And he stole all kinds of money from the government. He don't have the right to withhold it. He don't have any of the authority. And he don't have the authority to turn people back over to drug dealers and say you don't care what happens to them. That's aiding and abetting crime and attempted murder. He was playing that idiot. That idiot has no real deal with him. But I do, in a real court order. And I like my money. I also need, with that Rick breaking in my mobile home, getting notes between me and Carl, he's had went through my paperwork. And in that bin was my taxes. He has my social. Me and Carl could live in the local area, fine and safe, if we had a new name and new social, and they couldn't find us. We don't have the same social groups. We don't go to the same places. See what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and upload this.